Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. On this another good week, we continue reading our Action Bible here on our adventure of reading the entire Bible. So obviously we read the story last week about the what was his name? Let me see. Let me see real quick. What was his name? Oh, Balaam. Balaam, man, his donkey. He was on the way to basically curse Moses and things, and the angel appeared, stopping the donkey in its tracks, and it actually God even opened the donkey's mouth, so he spoke to him and brought him to the realization, and then he begged the Lord for forgiveness, and God definitely opened his eyes in this situation, and kept the Israelites safe. So kept them from being cursed or anything like that. So today we're reading A New Leader based on Numbers chapter 27 verses 12 through 23, as well as Deuteronomy chapter 31 through 34 and Joshua 1. So that's all the books that this story is in, starting here. All right. So for the second time, the Israelites have come to the border of the Promised Land. This time they are not afraid. Men talk of the flocks and their heads they will have, and women dream of beautiful, peaceful homes, but Moses' feelings are bittersweet. He calls the people together. So, after years, I think it was 40 years, plus the time that they were traveling before they, many of them that were there before have already passed away, as well as even his brother Aaron and things. So many of them didn't even get to see the Promised Land, or if they weren't afraid, if they were to trust in God, stop complaining, they could have already been in the Promised Land at this time, but they didn't. So, unfortunately, can't go back, but now they're not afraid. They're going to trust God, have faith in God as they should the first time, and get into the Promised Land this time. But unfortunately, we're coming to the end of a great hero, as I should say. One of the great prophets in the Bible. As Moses speaks right now, I am 120 years old. I can no longer lead you, because God said he would never see the Promised Land for disobeying him. And when he cracked that rock open to, bust out the water, it was something that he shouldn't have done. He'd done out of anger. So unfortunately, he could never see, but he's going to a greater place anyways. Okay, I can no longer lead you, and God has already told me that I will never enter the Promised Land. So God has appointed a new leader, the man who's been by his side this whole time, the great Joshua. Come and stand before the assembly. The people cheer Moses, Moses' successor. Joshua has proven himself faithful to God and a brave leader. At the moment the Lord speaks, confirming his choice of Joshua. Be strong and courageous, Joshua, for you will bring the Israelites into the land I promised them, a land flowing with milk and honey, and I myself will be with you. So then the aged leader Moses climbs to the Mount Nebo and gazes down on the land God has promised his people. There alone with God he dies. The Lord himself buries Moses, and to this day no one knows where his grave is. And this gives me goosebumps reading, and just so he climbs up to this view on this rock and views the land that he cannot enter, that God has promised him. Everything he's done in his life, is now coming to an end. And there, by himself and other people, but with God, he passes away on that mountain. No man goes up there and grabs him. Joshua and his men didn't go up there and get him. God himself. You gotta know, you're important when God himself, buries you. And he buried Moses. And again, to this day, nobody knows where that was, or the place. Like, we have general ideas of where Jesus and where his tomb was, but not Moses. That was a very long time ago. So, but continuing, the Israelites mourned the death of Moses for 30 days. Joshua prays to God for help, and the Lord answers, "Don't be afraid, for the Lord God is with you. Get the people ready to go across the Jordan River. I want you to go into the land I am going to give you. And Joshua, the new leader, calls a meeting. The campaigns ahead will be hard and dangerous, but I'll seek God's guidance in everything we do. And the people speak, and we will follow you as we did Moses. I hope not. I'd prefer less complaining, as he jokes, basically. But Joshua sends word through the camp. Get your supplies ready. We're going in to take the land. 3 days from now, we'll cross the Jordan River. Then we must capture the city of Jericho, but first we need to learn everything we can about it. Are we sure we could take Jericho? And he says, yes. 40 years ago, our fathers turned back because they were afraid. Let's trust in God and the man he has chosen to lead us. Now, let's not make the same mistakes that our fathers did, basically, is what he's saying. Because their fathers didn't trust God, they didn't have faith, they didn't believe that they could take on them giants, and unfortunately, they passed away and was never able to see that promised land, but again, God has taken them to a great place of heaven. So that is the end of Moses' story, just as we had ended Abraham's and, many more before him, and there'll be many more we'll see come to an end after this. We still have much to learn, much more stories to read. Moses's and everything that happened was one of the most recognizable stories, and just a great story. It speaks, their mistakes. I hate that they made them mistakes, but in a way, it's kind of good because them making the mistakes has showed us how not to do the same thing. How not to be like that and why we shouldn't. Sometimes God has something ready for us. He's ready to give us stuff. He's ready to bless us. He's ready, but us ourselves, don't trust him. We don't have faith in him. We don't, serve him the way we're supposed to. We don't have patience. We don't, there's so many things that, us as humans don't think about. We're not grateful about or, thankful about. And there's so many things we struggle with, and that's just something we need to pray on daily. Pray for each other. Because, of course, God's there. He loves us. He's waiting for us. He wants to bless you. He really does. So be patient with him. Patience is very important. Be patient with him no matter what. Have faith in him without a shadow of a doubt of anything else. Have absolute faith in him. Trust him. Pray daily. Serve him the best you can. And live your life with joy unspeakable. Every day you should wake up and be happy because, look, even myself, I'm able to walk. I'm in perfect health. I have a family that loves, I have a home. I have a car. All these things. I have this phone where I'm able to do these. There's so much to be thankful for. We have food on the table. So, even more than what just we require is we have way more than what just we require. So, every day we should be just in a good mood all day. I know there's some things that might put you in a bad mood, but you need to pray about it and get yourself back into that good mood and be thankful for what God has given us. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned something new. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. As always, take it easy.